Perception Study on Low-Cost Electric Vehicles for Urban Mobility in Mexico, developed in support of the Otilia National Electromobility Initiative. The Mexican low-cost electric vehicle market is experiencing substantial growth. Consumer adoption is driven by potential operational savings, and the Mexican government has established a project called Otilia, with the goal of producing low-cost electric vehicles for urban mobility. This study aims to understand consumer perceptions toward low-cost electric vehicles in urban areas of Mexico, to identify drivers and barriers to adoption, and to provide evidence to support public mobility policies and the Otilia EV project. There's a growing interest in EVs, but adoption remains slow. And there have been urban mobility challenges in Mexico like congestion, pollution, and the EV market is still very small, like less than 5% share by 2022. Why electromobility matters? Urban areas in Mexico face increasing challenges related to pollution and emissions, traffic congestion, high fuel costs, and EVs represent a strategic solution aligned with global sustainability goals and Mexico's climate agenda. The federal government launched the Otilia project to introduce affordable mini EVs for city use, targeting a price between $4,800 and $8,000 US dollars. This vehicle segment seeks to serve low-income commuters, students, users in high-traffic urban corridors, and last-mile delivery workers. While EV adoption in Mexico is growing, access remains limited. Most EVs cost above $16,000 US dollars. The market is dominated by foreign brands like BYD, JAC, Tesla, Nissan, and more. So there's strong opportunity for low-cost national EVs because there are very limited options under $10,000. The key barriers in Mexico are the high initial cost, the lack of charging infrastructure, battery autonomy concerns, and increasing interest in electromobility from government, academia, and industry. We conducted an exploratory descriptive cross-sectional study with 148 respondents. We used an online survey through Microsoft Forms in June of 2025 in a non-probabilistic convenience sample, and our respondents were adults in the metropolitan areas that are in the list. We focused on leading urban areas like Mexico City, Monterrey, Guadalajara, Puebla, Tijuana, Mérida, Tuxtla Gutiérrez, and Tampico. The three major cities are definitely Mexico City, Monterrey, and Guadalajara. And we chose Tampico because we're from Tampico, but at the same time we chose Tijuana, which is at the north, Tuxtla Gutiérrez and Mérida, which are in the south. And well, Puebla is very close to Mexico City at the middle of the country. We used a 30-item questionnaire divided in 4 major aspects: demography, knowledge, preferences, and perceptions. And we used Excel and Word Cloud to analyze the data. Some of the key characteristics were 51% were men, 47% women, 85% were aged between 25-64, which is the typical car buying age. 87 have a university degree, 88% already own a vehicle. And the occupations were like 43% the private sector employees, 25% from the public sector, but we also had entrepreneurs and freelancers and students. Mobility needs align with EV capabilities. As we can see in those charts, 40% have a daily travel between 26 and 100 kilometers. Most mobility is urban, short range, so this indicates a strong potential for small EV adoption. Regarding EV awareness and knowledge, well, 95% are aware of EVs or hybrids. The hybrids are preferred, 78%, which is highly important, due to range and charging concerns. The most important factors influencing purchase were the price with 47%, then the battery range with 24%, and the charging stations availability, which is 22%. Now, about their willingness to buy EVs in the future, well, 45% would definitely consider buying an EV, and 43% would possibly consider it. An important key insight is that there is a strong interest, but there's fear of lacking infrastructure. Okay, in the chart, well, you can see the preferential cost. The 22% are willing to pay even, above 8,000, like 8,171 to 10,897. But, well, there's a very strong number that is 18% that's up to 5,450. And we can see that there's a 23% that still remarks that they would prefer a hybrid one. And speaking about the price, well, the study analyzed what consumers are willing to pay. So we can see that a combined 40.5% of respondents are willing to pay an amount that falls within or very near the Otilia project's target price. However, there's a large segment that remains fixed on hybrids, like I mentioned in the slide before. So reinforcing the fact that the price is not the only aspect that they are considering. So that 40.5% represents a massive opportunity because that's where the Otilia project comes in, and it directly targets that group. So to convert this segment, the vehicles must not only be affordable, but also backed by a trustworthy ecosystem to overcome the hybrid preference. Okay. The key barriers to adoption, the main concerns are 90% consider very seriously about the lack of charging stations, 75% with a high purchase price, 71% the battery lifespan, 68% the autonomy, and, well, the rest are between the information gaps, safety systems, battery charging time and lifespan, and a comparative operating cost advantages. So definitely battery charging anxiety, if we sum it up, it remains a critical limitation. Now, the perceptions toward low-cost EVs. Well, respondents value environmental benefits, fuel savings, operating cost reduction. However, 36% are not aware of Otilia, so communication efforts are needed. There's a strong eco-awareness, especially by the younger respondents. So the value perceived in urban mobility efficiency, lower fuel costs, and reduced emissions are very important as well. Now, the implications for policy and industry. Definitely, Mexico shows growing consumer interest in EVs. The cost and charging infrastructure are main barriers, and there's a market opportunity for affordable EVs under $8,000. So our recommendations are we need to expand our charging infrastructure, education campaigns about EV technology, safety and savings, and to promote financial options, and to support pilot programs in major cities. This study provides initial insights to guide future research and support Mexico's mobility transition through the Otilia project. So, what do consumers want? Well, beyond price, adoption is driven by key advantages and a critical need for information. So, they are motivated by environmental benefits, but are also blocked by a lack of trust and clear data. So, this exploratory study confirms that there's a growing interest in electromobility, clear demand for affordable EVs, infrastructure remains the primary barrier, and Otilia is well positioned to serve underserved urban users.